Okay, so this is part 3 of our layers and masking, and now John's going on to astrophotography and editing and using the various options in layers and masks to emphasise the sky. Over to you, John.
Okay, so the first thing, just a quick mention about the picture. The picture's taken with a torch illuminating the foreground. That's why the foreground's lighter. Normally if you're out there on a dark night that would be just black, but it's still not light enough. So I think the easiest thing with this to do would be to go straight to an adjustment layer.
So we're going to emphasise the foreground.
We're going to lighten the whole image.
Right. Give it a bit of pop.
Yeah. I might make a duplicate layer first, just so.
And what was the shortcut key for a duplicate layer?
Control J.
Control J. Okay.
And Command J in
Command J for Mac.
If you're Mac. Then if we go to there, and we might just go. Brightness contrast might be enough, and so we can just brighten it by moving the slider and bring the whole picture up there. For the sake of that bit down the bottom, we might just lift the contrast a little whisker too, just to.
So I noticed on the right hand side there, John, that you haven't applied the mask to layer 1. You've just put in a new 2.
Yeah, I could have done it to layer 1.
Right.
Part of the reason I like to have that there is a fallback thing, for nothing else.
Yes.
The other thing, I can click on these couple of eyes, and I've well, in this case, because it's a duplicate, I can just close that on and off and see what I've done to it so far.
Yeah,
okay.
And you can do a before and after sort of look at it.
Yeah. And then because it's lightened the sky as well, and we probably want what's there of the Milky Way. This was photographed when the core of the Milky Way is below the horizon, so it's not the ideal time of the year, but it's when this lake was full. So the night sky, it probably doesn't hurt to be a bit darker. So rather than that global thing taking effect, let's click on the mask, take our brush tool, which we're still on, make it a bit bigger, and then what we can do is just...
and you're using the bracket key
to make
for the shortcut
to make the brush larger or smaller. Okay. And probably for this one, it's probably a good idea not to take it quite back to the darkness it was before. So we might go up to the opacity of the brush, which is at the top of your screen,
right,
and slide it back a bit. So you can adjust the opacity of your brush, so it's not, and you'll see on the mask later the difference that makes.
So it's not so harsh.
Yeah, so I can run that down there, and it'll darken that part of the sky and this part over here without affecting the Milky Way too much, but it helps the Milky Way to stand out a bit more.
Gives it a bit of pop, doesn't it?
Yeah. So now, if we do what we did before and see what the mask looks like, if we go on there, you can see it's not jet black like it was before. The one disadvantage, or the one thing you've got to be careful with, if you keep painting over with it at 75%, it just keeps building up.
Yes. It's a bit like a paintbrush when you're painting your wall at home.
That's right.
The more paint you put on, the thicker it gets.
Yeah, and you can see over here, I've gone over a bit twice. But because of the nature of the image, it doesn't make any noticeable difference, really.
Yeah.
You can, if you want to, you can make another layer now by clicking back on here. Go Control J, and so you've got another layer. You want another adjustment layer, and say you wanted to make this part just a bit brighter again, you would then, I'm not sure how this will label. Let's just see, there might be something else I can pick that'll, or what about hue and saturation, for argument's sake? change the whole picture, okay?
Yes.
Now, I've overdone it just so we can see what's happening. We can then, just on this mask here, theoretically, without affecting that one, I might have to go above, we'll see. And I need to go back to full density of the brush. Where am I? Oh, there, sorry. Opacity. And just block out the whole lot. No, it needs to be above it, I think. No, that's not.
Yeah, that's better. So that's first in the list now.
Yeah, so that should have should still be right up there. Yeah. So all we've done now, we've taken off the top part of this mask here by that next mask and left that saturation layer down there. See how it's...
Okay, yeah. All right. So, that's...
so you can move them up and down. If you'd wanted to do something to that sky there, say, let's get rid of that hue saturation one. Say you'd wanted to do something that was within the same thing, but you wanted another layer of it. Let's just go brightness contrast, which is what I think we did before. You can now go with the Alt key and drag that up onto that one, and it's replace layer mask. You go yes, because you're replacing that blank one was there before. You've now got a mask on that one that's the same as the one underneath, but you now want to make it
a little bit more brightness.
A bit brighter. It's not a good example, but anyway, you can now just lift the brightness a bit more with that. We might have a better example later on where we can drag it up and use it for something else. Okay.
Right.
But it means that you can use that same bit that's masked out on another layer, usually one that's got a different function. The important thing is if you're working on a mask, it's you need to make sure a layer. It has to be the active. It has to be highlighted to be active.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know if I've mentioned that before. So, and once again, you can just black out the effect by closing off those layers, those adjustment layers. Okay.
Okay. That looks good.